Why is the reaction always different when it involves the Southeast?
Igbo is really the problem. Let's start with this.
And nobody will take it away. No matter how you try to hide it, you cannot hide that Igbos are not marginalized in Nigeria.
You see this new tax policy that Tinubu is coming out with? I personally support it, and I support it for one reason.
Mr. Minister, you didn't senior us for age. Academically, you are not my senior me, and you are not senior to provide too. Maybe the course rate, we cannot be engineer. But you cannot say we are too small to ask you how much is the money we ask you.
Why would somebody like Ndi Igbo think of fighting for Biafra? He was born, I think, in 1967 when the war broke out. He started fighting for this Biafra of a thing because of marginalization.
I want us to start paying tax in this country. Maybe that will be the time we start taking things like politics serious in this country.
We are the highest importers and exporters. But there is no seaport in the Southeast.
Who doesn't care about the continuous attack of military bases and elimination of Nigerian soldiers? Who deliberately and out of selfish interest increased the price and cost of living in Nigeria to 1000%? Who in his administration, the people are dying of hunger, starvation and insecurities, but he's only talking about buying yachts, private jets, his vacation and taxing the people in 2026. Is Yoruba your brother? Who is complaining? The same Yoruba. But who is Nigerian problem? The Igbos.
But guess what? For a lot of times in Nigeria, if it was Igbo, every Igbo man and Igbo woman will be attacked, will be insulted, will be cursed. Peter Obi will be dragged in. This is not even about Peter Obi. Even before Peter Obi decided to be president, all Igbo people will be dragged. They will be called all manner of names. They will be called this, they will be called that, they will be called that.
Because the way we treat politics that like is a joke, the way we treat economics in this country like is a joke, like it doesn't concern us, because the money being squandered, the money being played with in this country is not coming out of our pocket.
Out of the tribalism that have been in the blood of all our Yoruba brothers, he situated all his brothers in the most significant leadership positions in Nigeria. The office of the EFCC chairman, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, is Yoruba, yet most of the arrested and convicted suspects are Yoruba. Who is crying? Yoruba. Who is Nigerian problem? The Igbos.
Maybe once they start squandering that your tax, let me see if you will not talk by that time. That change you want for Nigeria, you go come by fire by force.
From here to Kaduna, how much is the money? I go to ask you how much.
So the next time you hear an Igbo man or an Igbo woman saying that they are being marginalized in Nigeria, they are being treated differently, don't come at them and say, oh, it's a lie.
Yeah, we be the voice that got talk true. For the language.
Oh yes, my people, now all this story and more we go take welcome on for this inside this episode of Voices of Vigilance. Oh yes, as January don't they approach fast, one active voice don't say who has say him like as Tinubu government they increase tax up and down, and the new tax reform way in one bring on top Nigeria people head starting from January. Make we hear in reason.
You see this new tax policy that Tinubu is coming out with? I personally support it, and I support it for one reason. I want us to start paying tax in this country. Maybe that will be the time we start taking things like politics serious in this country. That will be the time we start taking, because the way we treat politics that like is a joke, the way we treat economics in this country like is a joke, like it doesn't concern us, because the money being squandered, the money being played with in this country is not coming out of our pocket. It is our general money from oil and other natural resources that God has blessed Nigeria with. But I believe, like it was done in about women's riot in the 1920s, I believe that once we start paying tax and politicians start squandering that tax to buy properties abroad, send their children away, use the money to be chasing girls, university girls all over the place, squandering that money, I believe that once we start seeing that thing happen from the money that we are paying from the suffer we will suffer, from our business and everywhere, that time, let me see if we will not ask questions. All these people that are doing that don't care, especially in this our Igbo. Every election, people who will leave election will not vote. They will go and be playing football at the main road. You understand? Turnout for voting is the lowest in Igbo in the last election. So maybe once they start squandering that your tax, let me see if you will not talk by that time. That change you want for Nigeria, you go come by fire by force. So I support Tinubu, even if he likes, collect 100% tax. Maybe they pay him. That way our people will wake up, because that is the only thing that will wake an average Nigerian up, especially an Igbo person up, when you start putting hand inside their money, that time we start holding the government accountable. Local government, state government, federal government. So me, I support it.
I buy fuel of 45,000 every Sunday. So I just bought. From January, every 45,000 naira fuel I buy, I'm going to be paying 2,250 extra to the government. If it happen
for one person,
for one
vehicle.
person, one vehicle, that's the capacity of my kind of car. That means in a month I'll be giving government 10,000, about 10,000 naira. In a year I'll be giving government about 120,000 naira. Then again, that weaken my purchasing power.
Exactly.
Issue of petroleum tax, 5% petroleum consumption tax is not new. Because of the motive, what it ought to be used for. That is where they need to maintain our road. It's strictly for the maintenance of the federal road. Strictly. But are they maintaining the road now? Because since there's no accountability to the Nigerian people, that's why one person could issue a letter to authorizing people to award a 15 trillion naira contract, Lagos Calabar coastal line. There was no bidding. There was no submission. There was no quoting. That is where the issue of people not wanting to pay tax. Sorry to digress. Or is it Thursday? Wike was on the air.
Yes.
Very embarrassing. Told the whole world that if he asks Fubara for 20 billion naira every month to maintain a political structure, it's not a crime. That's how our taxes are going.
He said a lot now, where he also accused an inspector general of police, an army general,
Yes.
of being a murderer. And that one said that Wike actually offered him billions to compromise the Rivers election. General Jamil Sahab.
This is where the issue of people not wanting to pay tax on its own is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. It's easy for them to compare us. Oh, UK they pay this, in US they pay this. But I can also bet you in the UK my car don't need to get damaged because of bad road. So coming back to what this government have done to Nigeria, as he promised us, he's going to widen the tax net. He's going to reduce the purchasing power of Nigeria. Me as in person now, from January to December next year, the government is taking 100,000 naira from me.
Minus the normal tax.
That is one. Then when you collect my pay as you earn in the office, you remit to government. Am I correct? Then again, there's another 120,000 I go to pay. Don't also forget that the consumption tax is still there from the eateries, people that supply food. The VAT is there. If my car got damaged because of the bad road, I go to Ladipo to go and buy parts. The person will also put VAT again. The mechanic is waiting for me. So in all this, why would this man want to tax life out of Nigerians? That's a question you need to ask. You need to answer.
Another active voice don't educate people for the plenty lies where they inside that tax law we go start for January 2026. This man tie am very well to why people must vote to promote bad governance. Make we listen to them.
5 fat lies of the supporters of the new tax policy. Number 1, citizens paying taxes will automatically lead to development. Loriro, big lie. Development is not a function of taxes. There are many countries in the world where citizens don't pay taxes, but they are far more developed. I'll give you a good example. Dubai, that our politicians run to, that they go to buy houses, their citizens do not pay tax. The citizens of Qatar don't pay tax. The citizens of Bahrain don't pay tax. The citizens of Saudi Arabia don't pay tax. Most of the Gulf states, their citizens do not pay tax. Oil-rich states like Nigeria, their citizens do not pay tax. So taxation is not an automatic license to development. It's a big loriro. Number 2, the new tax policy is better than the old one. Efe neto. Hey, Jesus. Big lie. According to the former personal income tax grade, they go from 7% to 21%. Then they will say, oh, they start from 300,000. Once you earn 300,000 a year, you are liable to taxes. It's true. And 300,000 as at 10 years ago when this government took power was equal to $1,500 if you use the 200 naira exchange rate as at then. Today, the exchange rate is 1,500. So 800,000, which is now the minimum income before you can be eligible for tax, 800,000 today is $530. It means that the person who was earning 300,000 naira 10 years ago is earning 3 times, in real times, the money that the person earning 800,000 a year is earning now. Efenito. Big lie. Number 3, the rich will pay more, the poor will pay less. Okay, no. Big lie. Actually, the rich are specifically gifted in dodging taxes. Go and find out everywhere in the world. Have you heard about Dangote Foundation? Have you heard about MTN Foundation? Have you heard about Bills and Melinda Gates Foundation? Any money that goes to foundation is not taxable. And the big men know how to use it. They will employ experts in taxation, expert accountants to help them manage their taxes. And as a matter of fact, my final point here, a big man that earns 1 billion gets people to help him manage it, ends up paying 50 million in taxes. He's still significantly better off than a man who earns 10 million and they collect 1 million in taxes. Yes. So this one, okay, no. Number 4, once leaders know citizens pay, they will act responsibly. Mayan career kai. Big lie. Money does not tell which is from tax, which is from oil, which is from subsidy, which is from coconut, which is from granite, which is from any work. Money does not have, they don't write the source of a money on the currency. So if you have a governor, a president who is a thief, he will not know the difference between oil money and tax money. The important thing is that there's money there to be stolen and they will steal. So acting responsibly because citizens are paying taxes, Mayan career, big lie. Number 5, Nigerians will pay less taxes. Akaezuku, big lie. This is another big lie. If you expand the tax net and we bring in more fishes, do you think the fishes will be rejoicing or the fisherman will be rejoicing? Of course, the fisherman will rejoice. There's no nice way to pay money from your pocket. That's my point. Nigerians will not pay less taxes. If you have never paid tax in your life before, maybe the kind of job you are doing, like our auntie for Lekki, like our brother where they live for Lekki too, like our auntie for Iyama, like our vulcanizer for Junction where they make 10k a day, like our boat driver, like our bus driver and bus conductor, we never paid tax before. If you never paid tax before, all of a sudden, you can't need to pay tax in January. Are you paying less taxes or you are paying more? Is it better for you? Are you paying less or you are paying more? Of course you are paying more because your former tax is 0. Now, the minimum you will pay is 15%.
Our
in 2027, you go vote
active voice from the north, Garus Gololo, don't call Oga Tinubu making sack all in ministers, starting from Dave Umahi, the Minister of Works, because Umahi refused to answer Rufai Husseini of Arise question when he asked him how much will a kilometer of road they cost. Himself can't get his own question when he asked Umahi. Make we listen to Garus Gololo.
From here to Kaduna, we don't know how much is the cost of the route. What are the money costs? How many trillion? How many billion? We don't know. We only know about 15 trillion from Lagos to Calabar, which was the contract given by the minister, former governor of Igbo State, His Excellency David Umahi, engineer. I saw him yesterday, an interview with Arise TV. The Rufai asked him, do we have, how much does the cost? He cannot be able to say it's too small to ask him. Mr. Minister, you didn't senior us for age. Academically, you are not my senior, me, and you are not senior to Rufai too. Maybe the cost to read, we cannot be engineer. But you cannot say we are too small to ask you, how much is the money we ask you? We have to know how much you spend. You president is just releasing money for you and we cannot ask you a question. Are we not Nigeria? We are citizens. You are a senator, you run to that minister because you want to, from here to Kaduna, how much is the money? I Gololo ask you how much. Nobody know. You say Sokoto to Badagry, nobody know. You are just packing money, telling people lies. Why? And you said you will do nothing. In fact, President Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this minister, sack them up. They are not useful. They are just following your government, Your Excellency. They are not doing the thing you support to sell them. They are not doing the best. All of them, I put it to them, all of them. The minister, no minister is doing any, they give contract as they like, especially the work. And you weak, they just give contract as they like and they hold the money they like. And they are not telling you the truth. Your Excellency, please, these people, put them off, let them go. Bring another state so that it will work for us. From here to Kaduna, nobody know how much is the road. He revoked the contract, how much, nobody know. Where is the contractor? Nobody
Oh
knows.
yes, my people, Pastor EBUKA of Zion Prayer Ministry don't chukma for inside Ndi Igbo matter and why him believe say Nigeria they marginalize Ndi Igbo. Make we hear him.
Why will somebody like Ndi Igbo think of fighting for Biafra? He was born, I think, in 1967 when the war broke out. He started fighting for this Biafra of a thing because of marginalization. And nobody will take it away. No matter how you try to hide it, you cannot hide that Igbos are not marginalized in Nigeria. Every other region have 60 states. South 6 states. Southwest 6 states. North, all the whole north. Even one is 7 states. But in Southeast here we have 5 states. Giving us 5 states is reducing the money that's supposed to come into the region. Reducing the number of senators we're supposed to produce. Reducing job. So we are marginalized. There is no marginalization that is more than that. We are the highest importers and exporters. But there is no seaport in the southeast. We are the highest traveling race in Nigeria. But there is no good working international airport. So I think we are marginalized. We lift our hand up. And anybody from the south to here fighting against, problem of Ndi Igbo is that we are enemy of ourselves. Heaven will begin to remove them one after the other.
Now so the active voice Aisha Yusufu come follow Pastor EBUKA be Congress say Ndi Igbo matter they light fire for inside Obodo Naija. Say all that tribe go do something, nobody go notice them. But once it is in Ndi Igbo town, I go begin to make we hear Aisha.
Why is the reaction always different when it involves the Southeast? The reason why I'm saying this, we saw the tragic event that unfolded where an armed robbery took place in Abuja in a particular blocks of flats in an estate, and an Arise TV anchor was killed, Some Tochukwu. By the way, that's also my Igbo name that I chose, for myself. And police have been able to arrest some suspects. I think there are 12 of them, if I'm not mistaken. 12 of them or thereabout. They first arrested some first ones, and then later they arrested another one. The second batch that they arrested, they were even on their way to go to Maitama. I mean, they are attacking choice areas, real choice areas. And these attacks have been going on for a very long time. Not literally all over Abuja, but people just keep quiet. This one unfortunately for them, unfortunately for the country, this one was tragic, and one of the victims involved is someone who is popular, and the whole of Nigeria, felt the pain and took it on to the extent that Tinubu even commented on it. So of course, the police are going to go hard and all out there. But what I'm trying to say here is that when all the people that were called were they were mostly Katsina State. First of all, they were young youth. The oldest that the age, there were some that they didn't put the age. The oldest age there was 27. And I think there was the youngest, if I'm not mistaken, was 20. And there's a female, there's one woman amongst all of them. There's one female, her name is Sumaya. Yeah, Sumaya Mohammed, aka Baby. They call her Baby. I think it's even the Sumaya that is 20. So, oh no, I'm mistaken. There was a 31-year-old. The 31-year-old is the one from Maiduguri local government in Borno State and all of that. But the other ones we had Katsina State, there was Kaduna State. I think that's it. That's this Borno and all of that. But you see, what I'm trying to say that all of these people. By the way, they are not Fulanis. I saw in a tweet where some people were like, "Oh, they are Fulanis." No, they are not Fulanis. Even from here, because it's a CCTV. I wanted to put the CCTV out there. My team is saying that no, that could be a bit of like. It's not that the attack where you saw them running through the stairs and all of that, agitated, and they were saying. But I will give some explanation of what's in that CCTV. Somebody was listening and said that, oh, they are Fulani. So no, that's not Fulani. Fulani have their own intonation. They have a way of speaking Hausa. They don't speak Hausa very well, and they have a way of, just like when you hear the hate factor, it's Yoruba, or when you say Igbotic accent. Like also we in Edo, we have our own kind of accent. Like like even the different places have their own accent. Like my people, they call Lagos Lagos. You understand? We put L, we have the L and N factor and also the M. Like apple, we call it ample. Like an agbede, somebody will say, yeah, give me apple. It means apple. So that kind of a thing. So it's not, so you know sometimes from somebody's intonation, the part of Nigeria that they are from. So what I'm trying to say here, and I don't want you to misconstrue me, and I just want you to take a moment and pause and say, if these 12 names that have been mentioned by the police and the different local government, I'm going to break down that name. I'm going to read out those names. If they were from southeast Nigeria, what would the reaction have been? Just take a moment. This one it's not for the Igbos. Stay out of it. If you are non-Igbo, what would have been your first reaction? What would have been your first thought? How would you have reacted to it? Take a moment and then ask yourself, did you react to it in this way where it is not Igbo? It's from another different part. And this time it doesn't matter. This is not about the fact that it's Hausa. No, that's not the fact. It's the fact that it is not Igbo. Because even if it was Edo, I'm from Edo State, if it was Edo, the reaction is just beyond, it's those things. But guess what? For a lot of times in Nigeria, if it was Igbo, every Igbo man and Igbo woman would be attacked, would be insulted, would be caused. Peter Obi will be dragged in. This is not even about Peter Obi. Even before Peter Obi decided to be president, all Igbo people will be dragged. They will be called all manner of names. They will be called this, they will be called that, they will call that. So the next time, and for me, I want us, because it took me time, because I didn't want to, I don't wait it, I don't do, what do you call it, what do you call this, tribalism or whatever, because me, the only reason I do it because my parents told me, if tomorrow they tell me oh, sorry, you are Yoruba, we adopted you, your parents are Yoruba, I will be, because it's what I'm told. So, but I want us to think clearly about this. So if your reaction would have been different, so this is what it means. So the next time you hear an Igbo man or an Igbo woman saying that they are being marginalized in Nigeria, they are being treated differently, don't come at them and say, oh, it's a lie. There's something like that. Because it's not your lived reality. It's their lived reality. And a lot of times, except we don't want to be, how do I put it now? We don't want to be truthful with ourselves. It's always there. Most of the time. Almost all the time. And it's not fair. If people do something, go after them, the people that did it. Don't bring in their tribe. Don't bring in their religion. The reason why I can feel this way, I feel I can empathize because I understand a woman. One woman does something, they'll bring all women into it. I am black. One black person does something, they bring all black people into it. I am Muslim. One Muslim does something, they bring all Muslims into it. So I know how it feels. And it can be very annoying and very irritating. And then you begin to see people tell you, oh, why have you not spoken? Why are you not condemning the act? Then when that person that is telling you to condemn it, and when their own did, nobody condemn. Nobody is coming to say, who are the people from Katsina State? Who are the people from Borno? Who are the people from Kaduna? Who are the answers? Why are they not condemning? Nobody. We all see that these are crimes done by criminals. And every tribe, every religion, they have their own criminals. It doesn't mean that everybody that is in that place either practice that religion, or is that gender, or is that race, or is that tribe or that region that are all the criminals. So please, let me repeat once again. The next time you hear an Igbo man or Igbo woman or Igbo child say to you that there's marginalization against the Southeast or against Igbo, don't dismiss it. Think about what your reaction was and what your reaction would have been. if it was.
Now, so another active voice conchukma for the same matter to prove say Ndi Igbo no be problem for Obodo Naija despite all the name calling way because they call them.
Now, you see this Lagos State and Igbo must go issues. Are Igbos the problem? Let's find out. I'm going to start by saying this. The executive governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Olusola Sowore, you are only the governor in Lagos State. Once you travel, you become a stranger. If you are going to be using your executive position to propagate tribalism and ethnic bigotry, just make sure that everything about your life is going to stay within the territories of Lagos, because any day that you travel, you become a stranger. I'm going to come back to Sowore later, but now, are Igbos really the problem? Let's start with this. The number one citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who has the most significant executive power to change some things in this country, but has eventually turned to a beast who doesn't care about the incessant massacre of Nigerian people, who doesn't care about the continuous attack of military bases and elimination of Nigerian soldiers, who deliberately and out of selfish interest increased the price and cost of living in Nigeria to 1000%, who in his administration the people are dying of hunger, starvation and insecurities, but he's only talking about buying yachts, private jets, his vacation and taxing the people in 2026. Is Yoruba your brother? Who is complaining? The same Yoruba. But who is Nigerian problem? The Igbos. Let's not say that he's the only one. Out of the tribalism that have been in the blood of all our Yoruba brothers, he situated all his brothers in the most significant leadership positions in Nigeria. The office of the EFCC chairman, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, he's Yoruba, yet most of the arrested and convicted suspects are Yoruba. Who is crying? Yoruba. Who is Nigerian problem? The Igbos. The Central Bank Governor, Kadoso Olayemi Michael, Yoruba. Minister of Finance, Adebayo Olawale Idan, Yoruba. Minister of Petroleum, Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, Yoruba. Minister of Internal Affairs, Olubimi Tunji, Yoruba. Controller General of Custom, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, Yoruba. Federal Inland Revenue Service, Shak Adelabo Adedeji, Yoruba. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebotokun, Yoruba. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Olatobosun, Yoruba. Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Lateef Olalasukami Fabemi, Yoruba. NNPC Boss, Engineer Bashir Bayo, Yoruba. Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsuddin Babatunde, Yoruba. Controller General of Immigration Service, Kemi Nandap, Yoruba. Minister of Solid Mineral, Dele Aleke, Yoruba. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoko Odunwole, Yoruba. Minister of Communication, Bosu Tijani, Yoruba. Now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Yoruba, combining all his Yoruba brothers in most significant leadership positions in Nigeria. Nigeria is even getting worse. Are Igbos complaining? No. Who is crying? Yoruba. Who is the problem of Nigeria? Igbos. Now the Lagos State government with Governor Sowore have moved forward to renaming some major significant areas named after Igbo names to Yoruba names. A governor that is promoting ethnic and tribalistic bigotry. Now this same Lagos State government has marked 176 estates in Lagos illegal. Who are in the real estate business in Lagos? The Igbos. Now to the Lagos State governor, Governor Sowore, I want to tell you now that Igbo have something that you can never take away from them no matter what you do. And that is their passion and IQ for business. Anybody that can buy and sell can survive in any place at all. Richest people across the whole world, they are all businessmen, and this is what makes Igbos what they are. At this point now, you should be able to understand that our Yoruba brothers, they are like he-goats. You don't see when he-goat they knack before. Na him go they knack, na him go still they cry. Because the major public areas that promote trade and business are all in Lagos. Embassy, Lagos. International Airport, Lagos. Even seaports, Lagos. Whereas the China we have in Nigeria is in Aba, Abia State, and some of the biggest markets in Nigeria is Ariaria Market and the Onitsha Market. Now the Igbos that are so good in business, all their goods and services, everything that they are doing, they just have to go to Lagos because of it. Are they complaining? No. Who is complaining? Yoruba. Who is the problem of Nigeria? Igbos. Now, our Yoruba youth, what are they doing on the street? All they are doing, they will beg you money. If you don't give them money, they will attack you or they will scatter your car. They still like a street boy. Strong young guys that are vibrant. Go and do the same business that Igbos are doing in your state. In all my previous videos, I always give my Yoruba brothers reasons why they should not allow Igbos to go. This is why we should be together. But at this point now, I am saying it with authority that Igbos are not going anywhere. They say, is it by force? Yes, it's by force. They are not going anywhere. If you are so serious about Igbos leaving Lagos, go and tell your brother, which is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that they should give them Biafra. And to the Lagos State Governor, Governor Sowore, go and do everything within your power in Lagos. Igbos will still be dominating Lagos. Significant streets, you are renaming them now after Yoruba name. See what will happen. Igbos will still build companies and name their companies after their name. People will identify those infrastructures by their name. Do anything within your power. In as much as Igbos are very active in doing business, they will still continue to dominate. Go and tell your brothers to work. My Igbo brothers in Lagos, you're not going anywhere. And if they do anyhow, I'm gonna show them anyhow for Lagos. Remove everything and consider the Eastern community in this country. You will understand that Nigeria is going to look like South Botswana. What's their name? That's the stress they have to pass through. Everything they are doing, they will have to go through Lagos to do everything. Still, they are not complaining and they are being successful. And now you want them to go.
My people, are so we're going to end down for today's episode. Wait for another episode.
Now we be